Hello, friend. Welcome to Homemade. I'm your host, Jared Brown, and we're going to be diving into one of my special things. And I promised you on a couple of videos ago, I think it was my salmon patty video, or the Cajun salmon patties. I told you could use a fish called sucker, that every spring we go out and we gig suppers. Well, my son and a couple of his friends last night had a really good haul. They caught 43, I believe, suckers. And actually could have got more. They just got tired of toting them. I didn't get no footage last night. I didn't send him with the GoPro. Going to try, he's planning on going back for another trip. So I'm going to try to get you some footage for that. And we'll show you exactly how that part of it is done as well. But this is mostly known as a trash fish to a lot of people. A lot of people won't eat it. One reason they won't eat it is because of the bones. It does have quite a few bones in it. But I'm going to show you a way where we pressure can it, and you can use it in a lot of recipes, and you can do just like the salmon patties. Make the same recipe, but use this fish, and it will turn out wonderful. Actually has, to me, a better flavor, and I really enjoy it. So let's dive right on into what we're going to do this morning, and I'm going to get one of these out, and we're just going to start the process. I'm going to do something a little different than what I normally do. Because I have so many, I'm not even going to scale or gut these fish. I am just going to fillet it off. Normally, when I would do this, I would gut them and scale them. I would cut them up into jar length sizes to put them in a jar, just like you get a whole piece of salmon out. You can do these the same way. But I'm trying something different. I'm going to just fillet them and just pack them in a jar and pressure cook them the same way. And it can't turn out. It might not look the same maybe, but it'll have the same result in the end because you're just going to crush it up. You have to do this to get the bones dissolved somewhat, just like with salmon, because it's a very bony fish. No matter how you fillet it, there is some ways you lose a lot of meat, but really you can't get all the bones out of it. So we're going to look into just filleting these. Going to show you a little bit of that process. We'll show you a little bit of the process of canning them, and then maybe tonight he'll get that footage, and we'll show you exactly how the process is of gigging them. So let's get a fish out right here. Like I said, we got plenty to choose from. A lot of them pretty good size. And we're going to look at this one to begin with. And we're just going to make a couple of little cuts. Got a little, you can use, hey, my favorite knife to use, I call it, I think it's called like a Billy Bay. One vacation we went down to the Gulf Shores and here in Alabama. And I found this at Walmart. Needed a bait knife, like $4 or $5. This is actually the best knife that I've ever come up with. It's a very good knife. It sharpens real wood and it holds a good edge. And also you can just use, just a regular fillet knife. But for the sake of time, I'm using the electric knife today. And we're just going to go ahead and make some cuts here. I don't have a way currently at the time. I'm working on this to get the best close-ups. But I'm trying the best I can to show you as much as I can. So I'm just going to take right here and make a cut, pull this fin back right here and make a cut right here, straight down. Now remember, you got to cut through gill. You'll feel it hit the bone, stop. We're going to do the other side. I'm going to cut it on a little bit of an angle there. Just peel up behind the gill. Okay, and going to do the same thing down here at the tail. And then I'm going to actually go from the tail, find that bone, and then I'm just going to come all the way up and see how that's, I'm going to try to show as much as I can, see how that's starting to peel. And stay more, once you get right into the rib area, ride that backbone, because you don't want to get into the guts there. We're just going to peel it right off the guts, riding that backbone. There is some bones. You're not going to get, like I said, this is not like filleting catfish. You are going to get some of the bones, but this will save me a considerable amount of time. See there? All right, that's the first step. Let's try to show you this. That's one side. Filleted. You say, well, you missed a lot of meat right there. No, I did not. That's right on those bones. Everywhere there's bone. Starting to get into guts there just a little bit. So we're saving that. We'll be able to flip this over, show you this. Since we haven't scaled it, you don't want those scales to be anywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our fillet knife and we're going to lay it down, skin side down, or not skin side, the scale side down, and just make a little cut. Get that fillet knife flat as possible. And run down through there. Makes that slick as an onion. Now, see there? Let me show you how pretty of a they are. You can feel a few little bones in there. That's the reason we're pressure cooking, but that's one fillet. And here's what we had left. There is you see how thin that is, just a small membrane. And the scales gone. Actually, I want to take this and wash it real good to make sure there's no scales on it, because I don't think the scales will even come out if we were to even pressure cooking it. I don't think that would help with the scales. I'm going to try. Done just like I done a catfish. Leave the tail intact. I'm going to see if I can't do that. And that worked pretty good too. Might have missed just a touch of meat that way. There we go. Handy dandy. Put this in my scrap bucket. There's nothing there but guts and bones and a head. And nice little fillet there. And like I said, there is some bones in there. Rinsing, making sure we don't have no scales. And let's do one more. And then I'll go ahead and stop the video and do all of these 43 fish, and then I'll show you, get my jars. I've got them sterilizing right now. Then we'll start the next portion. So let me go ahead and do one more. To help a little bit, you could take and kind of scrape up a little bit where you want to make that cut. And for the where the scales are, I'm just going to go down. Leave just a little bit on. Just like that. I'm going to trim this one out a little bit. A little bit of it. Little bit out there. All right. Just another one. That was even quicker. Just however you find it to be the easiest. For years, I wouldn't use an electric knife. I was kind of old school in the fact that, especially with my catfish, and sometimes with catfish, if they're smaller, I will still use a knife because I want to make sure if I've got kids, that's going to be eating those, I want to make sure I don't leave any bones. So let's just go ahead and get this other one. I went ahead and cut that one off. There's nothing there. And let's clean off the skin now. Just like that. Nothing left but the skin. I'm going to rinse this off. And then we're going to go ahead and do the rest of these. But I'm not going to show you anymore. You see how to do it. Sorry for not being able to show as many close-ups as I would like to. And then we'll come right back when we get done with this part of the process and show you the next step. Okay, we're going to take a look at our next step. We've got all the fish cleaned, wound up with 21 pounds of cleaned fish. That's without bones or anything. Well, not completely without bones. There are some bones, the reason we're pressure cooking it, but doesn't have the skeleton with it or the guts or nothing like that. It would add weight. So this is pure meat, 21 pounds. What we're going to do is go ahead and take our next step. I've got the pressure cooker heating up. Now, I'm not going to show you the whole video. You can go back and watch where I can some dry beans. The process is pretty much the same. There's just some variance in some measurements and some time. So we're going to look at that, and I'm going to read that. Also, I'm going to go by just the, like I did last time, the Blue Book Guide to Preserving. And I'm going to read you so you hear these instructions because this fish needs to be done a particular way. Now, I cleaned the fish, and they suggest that you clean your fish within 2 hours after it's caught. I did not. I had to wait a few hours, but I had mine on ice the whole time, and they were as fresh as could be. Keep them chilled until ready to can. Mine's been chilly. And here's what I've done. I dissolved 1 cup of salt into 1 gallon of water to make a brine. As I was cleaning this fish, I let this soak. They recommend that you let it soak for 1 hour in that brine, which I did. Then I took and re-rinsed all my meat because I want to make sure there's no scales. I want to get everything just clean. You might notice I'm wearing a blue glove. I had a little run-in with the knife there, and it's not bad or anything, but it just won't quit bleeding. So put this on, re-rinsed all the meat just to make sure there's no type of contaminant there. And let's see, you cut the fish into jar-length pieces. Of course, this is, if you wouldn't have, you don't have to where I filleted all mine. I left some skin on it for flavor, here and there, a little bit here and there, because I think it adds to it. But you can leave it whole and cut it to what's going to be 1 inch head space. Now, on fish, and I'm going to read that in here in a minute, never process fish in quart jars or anything bigger than a pint. Half pint to pint is all you process fish in. These jars have been sterilized. Let's see. Then you drain it for 10 minutes, and here's where it says it's only processed in half pints or pints. Pack fish into hot jars. Mine have been sterilizing, so they're still very warm, and I have my water heated up in my canner. And so we're going to go ahead and start putting our fish in, and I'm just going to kind of maybe roll it into something like this and begin to put it in the jars. I'm just going to kind of flatten it so I get as much fish per jar that I possibly can. I may never do them like this again. I'm wanting to try it. And I know it was a whole lot easier to clean. And don't forget, that's going to have to come out. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take a knife. We'll cut that in half to get my 1 inch. There we go. That works. Put that one in the next jar. All right. And now what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to run through this right quick. What we're going to do is I got a 1/4 teaspoon measure because it's easier to get in my little box here. This is kosher salt. Remember, never use iodized salt. Anything else would be fine as long as I don't have nothing but salt. And I'm going to use 2 of these, which would make it a half a teaspoon per jar. And we're going to do these the same way. I'm just going to show you this. Let me grab a paper towel. Not going to spend a whole lot of time going through all this process because we already have it on another video. Be sure to check that video out. If you're not following my channel yet, I know I'm not as regular as I need to be with updating, but I do work quite long hours from time to time, and I just make them when I can. Got a few that I'm planning this weekend while I have some time off. That is clean. All right. Let's remember a couple of things. Non-metallic. I like to use a bamboo skewer or something like that. Something that's non-metallic to release air. We're also going to be ladling in some hot water. So let me get that ready. This will be to release the air in our jar. I'm just going to use a ladle. And also need to get one more thing. I need me one of them fancy little jar magnet lid lifters. Never have had one. We're going to just take some water and place it in our jar. Right over that salt. Fill it to 1 inch head space. No more. And we're just going to kind of release these air bubbles. Boy, there's a lot coming up there. We'll do this on each and every jar. I'd already wiped the lid, but we're going to do that again. Be sure clean. Just go around that lid. Then use our fancy little lid lifter. I usually keep these warm. And don't touch the rubber part. Getting hot. And we put it there. We put a ring on it. We're going to go ahead and set it. I'm just going to do it by hand. It's getting a little hot. Let me grab these. And we're going to begin placing them in our pressure canner. We're going to fill all these jars. I'll let you know how many I wind up putting. I think I can hold, I believe it's 18 in here. I don't know, being wide mouth, that may change it. I can't remember. It's been a while. And let me mention that I like for fish, especially when they're the whole ones, probably these like this wouldn't matter as much, but with the whole, you want to use a wide mouth. My wife always says, why do you want to use a wide mouth jar with that? It's because you got to get it out at some point, and it being wide mouth is going to be a lot easier for that. So we're going to go ahead and fill the rest of these jars, and we'll get back with you here in just a little bit on our next step that we're going to show you. Okay, now we've got our jars in our canner. I wound up getting 8 on the bottom, which was what I thought. I put my rack in. Then I got 8 more on top. So that's a total of 16 in my canner. So now, I'm just going to take a few precautions. I've had this heating up, as we mentioned. I want to look through this. I don't know if I showed you this last time. And sometimes if you can't see clearly through it, just blow through it a little bit. Look through it, make sure you can see through it, make sure it's not stopped up. We're going to go ahead and close this up. It's heating up. Everything is going good. We don't expect any trouble. Our seal's good. I love this pressure cooker. It's my favorite one. And we got that there. We're going to go ahead and kick this heat up. Put it on our large burner. Mine does good. I'll start out on like 7. Somebody asked me the other day what temperature I use now. Everything's different. This one cooks hot. It's on 7, and I'll bring it down to about 4 when it gets to going. You know the process. This will process for 1 for pints. Let me make sure I tell you this. The most important. 1 hour and 40 minutes at 10 pound of pressure. Now we're not ready to put our weight on just yet. We're going to let this go ahead. We'll come back when we pull these out and show you what they look like. I'm going to have some more. I've got more fish left. Probably 6 to 8 to 10 more jars left. So I'm going to be going for a while. We'll get these pulled off an hour and 40 minutes, and then we'll get back with you and show you what the final product looks like. Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish up our video. I'll put my hat on because it's now the next morning. I just let it cool overnight. I'm going to go ahead. It's cool to the touch. I mean, it's very cool. Just take my weight off. Be careful if it's still hot. You want to wear, something to where you don't burn yourself. We're going to ease this top off here. And there's our jars. In this one, like we said, we got 16 in it. There's probably 8 or 10 jars left of the 21 pounds of fish. So, this is going to turn out to be quite a good amount of food supply. We're just going to take these out and display them for you. Wrap this on up. Listen, we appreciate very much you watching our videos. Please like and subscribe. Look how pretty that turned out. I think I like the looks of this better than the whole ones. I think this is my go-to. It's probably going to be easier overall. I think this is the way I'm going to do my sucker from now on. I just wanted to try it. Normally, I would leave these whole and just stuff them in a jar, thinking you're going to get more meat per jar this way, which would use less jars. And if you don't know, at least in our area, maybe not for everyone, you have to really hunt jars to get new ones now. Of course, I've got quite a few old ones, but you never can have enough jars. At least that's my opinion, because they are handy for everything. Plus, this is food that we can put up for at least 2 years, longer if you want to. Always, when you
get a jar out of the pantry if it's been in there a while. Check the seal. If the seal's good. Matter of fact, it's not even hot enough to worry. See how that don't pop? No more of these have sealed. I will take my rings off and store them. I also want to make sure that you date it for the date you prepared it. Let's go ahead and get this rack out. There are 8 more jars in here. It looks like no broken jars, and every one of them has sealed and just turned out wonderful. That's what we want. So this is quite a few meals. I always put up deer meat every year. Different types of meat. A lot of people that do canning always think that it's just the vegetables. Well, you can do a lot of vegetables, and we do, from the garden. But it's just not just vegetables, by no means. There's one more. Just set it right there. All right, that's 16 jars. That's very beautiful. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and start some more before church this morning, try to get them pressure cooked before we have to leave and go to church. Then this is the way it is, folks. You want food supply. Never know what's going on around us. Something could happen. Everybody relying on, excited, and I am as well, about getting all these stimuluses and stuff from the government. I'm going to tell you something. That's all short-lived. God provides for us. And I look at this morning and I say, that's just another one of God's blessings upon my life. It did require a little bit of work. I want to say thank you to my friend, to my son and his friends who went out and actually took these. Of course, it was part of their fun. They enjoy that. But I appreciate them. It was work to it. They get very heavy. They caught so many fish that they had to go back to the truck a couple of times to empty their sacks and go back. So I appreciate their hard work. Cook them a good meal if they come over. We'll have some good, I guess you call them sucker patties. And I want to thank everybody who's involved, but most of all, the good Lord. He allowed me the knowledge, and the people in my life taught me how to take care and prepare this food. I appreciate that very much, and I just appreciate his provisions for me and my family. We enjoy it very much. Please like and subscribe. Click that bell. You keep updated on videos that we're doing. I'm trying not to do just all cooking videos. I've kind of fell into that for the most part because I'm still learning how to film some of the other things that I do. I work a lot of hours, so I don't get to do a whole lot, and this can be done when everybody goes to bed or things like that. So that's why we're kind of getting into this. But not too much further, I'm going to get some videos. I think I've got an idea of maybe showing you guys. Some of you may be afraid to cook. Some of you maybe think that you can't cook. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of recipes, show you how to cook some very easy meals that will surprise your wife. Hey, help her out. She needs the help. They have a lot to tote. She's raising your children, taking care of you, washing your clothes, cleaning your house. It wouldn't hurt you every now and then to cook. And I'm going to tell you, if you really, really want to help out, after you get done cooking, clean up your mess. And she'd appreciate that. Well, enough for that. We do appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to finish these up in another round. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.